I have been practitioner of innovation management and also a student of innovation management for a long time. And as Dr. Bose.
Hello.
Okay. All right. So, um, all right. And so I've been a student and practitioner of innovation management, which is actually a very wide field. And I also work in corporate R&D. So I have day-to-day experience in this matter. So I think I may have something that you will find useful. Now, as I mentioned, innovation management is a pretty wide field. And I was told to make it very general. And what I have found what I found frequently is people do not understand what management is in business context, as well as in some of the research or academic institution aspects. So I wanted to cover that part. So I'll be covering more of the innovation part, and at the later part of my talk, I'll give you brief glimpse into management. But this is, what do you think should be the answer to this question? Something is the creation of new products or processes through the development of new knowledge or from new combinations of existing knowledge. Would you call it process development, invention, innovation, or improvement?
Is it innovation? What? What I
Okay.
guess.
All right. Thank you. I'll answer that in shortly, or you will be able to answer it yourself. But I thought that I'll get some more answers, because once you ask the question, then our brain starts thinking, you know. Okay. So then my next slide was actually asking participants, what do they think innovation is? So, and as I mentioned, this is going to be a very interactive session. It is not just in innovation, there is no just knowledge imparting, there is always interaction. So consider us as a team. What is your idea of innovation? Actually, there was a paper a few years back, and they surveyed what different CEOs and CXOs basically mean by innovation in many organizations, and they were able to pin down, I think, about 150 different ways of explaining that word. Yes. Can someone tell me something?
It's a new idea.
Okay, good. New idea.
Or we can say new method.
Anything else? So, for example, when you buy a new version of phone or upgrade your phone, is that innovation that you are purchasing or not? So, can innovation be a new product? Can it be a new process?
I think it
Or
will
all of that?
All of that.
Okay. So something new is innovation. Can I define that something new is innovation? If I have a printing business, and I am making these kind of white papers, and then I think that, well, making slightly yellow shade might be useful for some people. And if I start making a little bit yellow shaded papers, then is that innovation? So what I'm trying to get an answer to is just if just anything new is innovation, or is there some degree? If I'm going to my work through a road, and then if I find out that there is another road which is faster and shorter, less traffic, and if I start going on that road, did I innovate?
Yes, I think there is some innovation in that.
Okay. So in business sense, yes. So I think all the answers that I got, they are close, but they are not accurate in business sense. Not only in business sense, but in general, when we define innovation, there is always a concept of value capture that is associated with it. So there is always some delta or change that you are making, but then there has to be some value capture or some value that I must derive from it. And that's why I can define it as a mathematical formula. It doesn't matter how big the change is. If I'm not capturing any value, some kind of value, then it is not considered an innovation. So suppose if I created something completely new, but I never sell it or never use it, then I never derive any value from it. Then it is not innovation. At least not innovation for others. It might be, you might derive some value in terms of satisfaction that you were able to create something new, and that would be that some, if you consider satisfaction as your value capture, then that is personal innovation, but it may not have value for others or may not have permanent value. So it is a very general definition, but it is a very specific definition that there can be a new method, there can be a new process, but there has to be some value capture. If value capture is zero, then innovation is zero. And similarly, if you do the same thing, but somehow you start capturing big value. For example, you were making masks and suddenly COVID came and you started selling 10 times more masks. So now you are capturing much more value from it, but there is no innovation because there is no change, there is no data. And it is very important to understand, because when you are employed in industry, you will think, and especially if you are in R&D, then you will think that I want to do this, it is so cool and so many people are doing that. Not only that, in academia or in research I find so many things, but you will always be asked what is the impact of this thing to industry, to company, etc. So you always have to think about that value capture. That delta is what we call novelty or invention. So that delta can be called invention but cannot be called innovation. So if I go back to my first slide, then you can see that here in this definition, it says creation of new products or processes through something and something. So I'm creating something new. I have that delta, but it does not mention value capture. So that means invention is the creation of new products or processes, but it is not innovation. But innovation is the creation of new products or processes through development of new knowledge or from combinations of existing knowledge for the purpose of value capture. That would be innovation. All right. Now, when you go into business, you will always be asked whether how much money can it make for us. Whenever you propose some changes, you want to do something, you will always have to justify whether it will make some money tangibly or intangibly for your business. And at that point, sometimes people get frustrated because usually in corporate R&D, you will find people who are postgraduates, who are PhDs, and they have done good research during their PhD or during their masters. And then they try to do something new in their field of work, but then it is not approved. They say, no, do this, do that. So then people get frustrated because, and I have seen that happening many a times, that people think I'm here to do research, but there is D in R&D. So yes, companies do a lot of research, but there is a way to do that. Academic research is usually basic research, where you are solving problems for the sake of solving. You think it is a worthwhile problem. Yes? Any question?
No, please continue here.
Okay. So feel free to ask and interrupt me if you have any question. So in academics, usually professors get funding from government or other institutes for research, but they also get funding from industry. And if professors want to get more funding from industry, then they should understand what this innovation thing is. Then they can probably leverage that and get more funding. So as I mentioned, this basic research is solving problems for the sake of solving. You think that something is very important. Say, for example, that you are developing some new CFD algorithm or method or schema or something that may not be directly tangibly useful for industry, but it will definitely make some progress in understanding. It will create some new knowledge. Then it is basic research. And unless it is pharmaceutical industry or some specific industry that heavily invests in basic research, it will be difficult to get funding for basic research. Most of that kind of research comes from, is funded by government and other research institutes. Then comes applied research, which is more useful, and you can connect in some way to a business purpose. And a lot of funding from industry and business to academia comes for applied research. So research is, again, you are inventing something, you are improving something, you are creating something new. So there is some delta, but it creates a latent value, a potential value. You cannot directly sell it and earn money, or you cannot apply it in society directly and make society better. And as I mentioned, innovation, I think now you know that there is tangible value. So instead of potential, it creates real value for companies. What do you think? Should companies invest in research, or they should only invest in innovation? And how much? Any idea how much do companies invest, say as percentage of their revenue? How much do they invest? Any guess?
Five to 10%.
Okay. Yeah. Any other answer?
%2.
Okay. Yeah. So let me share this Excel sheet. It is from New York University, and they have compiled, they have surveyed many companies, organizations in different industries, and then they tabulated it. You will be able to find many such surveys online. This is one of those surveys, and you can see that R&D percentage of revenue varies a lot. You can see that if you are in biotechnology industry, it can be almost half of company's revenue. Whereas if you are in coal and related energy industries, then it might be very small, less than 1%. In the industry that I work for, it is about 4%. So depending on the industry, it varies. Mostly it is between, say, less than 1% to 10%. But as I mentioned, especially healthcare related industries, it is that investment is very high. So if you want to earn more money doing research, then even if there is, you are working in mechanical engineering, there are many avenues that you can collaborate with biotechnology, pharmaceutical industry, and there would be a lot of earning potential for your institute and for yourself. Okay, but these 1%, 2% These are not small values. Yes. Okay.
You can continue. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So because the revenues are usually in millions or crores or hundreds of crores, so then for those companies, you are investing only 2% or 3%, but still you are investing crores of rupees or millions of dollars in R&D. So it is not a small amount. What I have seen is, in order to survive, industries must invest in basic as well as applied research, because there are always some answers in every industry which are not solved. New knowledge need to be created, not only improvement or novelty. So, and not only that, businesses change. There are many 100-year-old companies which started with something and now they are creating completely different products. The company that I work for, it is also a 100-year-old company. They started with a product that used to use for cleaning boilers, the boiler pipes. So it was a scrubber type of instrument or tool. And from there, now we are one of the leaders in turbo machinery industry, compressors, turbines, those kind of things. And so you have to invest continuously in R&D, not only in development, but research also. Usually research is small percentage of total R&D funding itself. So say if a company is investing 10% of their revenue in R&D, then usually 0.5% to 1% would be in research. And so now we have some idea about what innovation is. Then we also discussed how companies invest in R&D or how much they invest. Then the question for companies come is, how should I invest? Which project should I sponsor? Because there will be many people who will propose many projects. Then you'll have to approve some or send them to a parking lot, or you'll have to decide that these are not needed. And that is not always easy. So we'll talk about now how companies invest in different projects and how they innovate. So as I mentioned, there is delta, there is value capture. When you make that delta, there is either increase in revenue now, or there is a reduction in cost. So you can capture value either by increasing revenue or by reducing cost. And in order to increase revenue, when you increase revenue, then either you can increase profit margin, you improve your product in such a way that it allows you to charge more to people. For example, when I remember that when I was in college, we used to use those Walkmans. And
Dr.
suddenly
Kapil,
all the
Dr. Kapil, I will request you to take the 10 minutes break so that we can again join after 10 minutes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's stop here because this is an important time.
We will again join after 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.